enter a world. Enter a world. Enter a world.
Here it is.
Alright. Hello and welcome to the 4th episode of Castaway the Podcast.
Woo!
Quick bit of community news, I guess. I modified the server to have the Brutal Doom mod, so now it's kind of a co-op server, which is pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, I don't really like Doom, but I played it and it was lots of fun.
Yeah. Even the guy who says he doesn't like Doom says it's fun, and you should go play it. Anyway, I don't think I really have anything else to talk about in that subject, so I guess we'll get right down to our topic list.
Which neither of us have open.
I do.
Oh, you do? Alright, good job.
Yeah. Let me post a link to it for you real quick here.
You sent me a link previously, and I forgot to bookmark.
There you go. That should work. First thing, Steve Jobs steps down from being an Apple CEO to now just being the chairman.
Yep.
My opinion on that is I feel that he should probably just step down entirely due to his health. He's just not feeling good enough to really do any sort of job at the moment. I mean,
Ironic given his name, but
yeah, pun not intended. Yeah, I really feel that he just needs to step down entirely and just take a break, because otherwise he's gonna not literally kill himself, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He's going to wear himself out really badly. So that's pretty much my opinion on the whole thing. Although he's at least realizing that he does need to step down at least a little bit and let some other people take over. So,
Exactly.
which is kind of a good thing, because he needs it. He needs a rest. So,
yeah.
what do you have to say?
I'm very interested in seeing how Apple employees are going to take this. Like,
Yeah.
Steve Jobs has been around there forever, and he was he was pretty much the person that pulled Apple out of debt the last time he left, and he came back and he pretty much made them who they are now. So it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to be interesting how they go about day-to-day activities without him being around.
Yeah, that'll be pretty interesting to see what happens. Alright, then we've got or wait, does Shoot have anything to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe it'll finally mean Apple will open up some, but that's as likely as me winning the lottery tomorrow. Silly Shoot, the lottery doesn't go on Sundays.
Or Saturdays. Alright, then we have PAX Prime highlights. So, first main highlight for PAX Prime 2011 is the Cinemassacre panel.
Yay.
I saw bits and pieces of it on the Cinemassacre website. I thought it was pretty awesome that they debuted the NWC episode of AVGN at PAX. That was pretty cool. I like I'm not sure if anybody else saw this, but there was a video, I believe, on James' site that had Mr. Bucket going down the aisle as James was walking up the aisle. And he's like purposely falling over and stuff. If you haven't seen the Board James episode of Mr. Bucket, you'll understand why exactly what's going on. Yeah. Also, RetroWare TV panel. That was pretty cool. I kind of like the tie-in with Pat and James. They work really well together. They have sort of a dynamic or synergy that just melds together perfectly, and they work so well together.
Yeah, honestly, like I really do enjoy James, but I could never really get into Pat by himself as much as I could get into James. But
he's got a unique style.
Yeah, whenever they're together, it's really good.
Yeah. So, also there were some other bits and pieces of RetroWare TV panel stuff I saw a little bit of, but didn't dig too deep into that.
Yeah.
So, does Shoot have anything to say about PAX Prime highlights?
We didn't
Oh.
even talk about the... Or are we just talking about panels right now?
Well, I don't really have any more panels to talk about because I didn't see any others.
And then were we going to talk about game highlights yet?
Oh yeah. I've got them on the game list right here.
No, he says nothing about panels.
All right. Next we have Microsoft demos the Sega CD for Xbox Live.
Or not Sega CDs, particularly just Sonic CD, because that's like the only game
Or,
worth.
yeah, Sonic CD, whatever it is. Sorry. Sorry, to me they're one and the same.
It's like the only good game on the entire system.
Anyway, Microsoft demoing the Sonic CD. I think it was a smart move by Microsoft.
Yeah.
And the fact that knowing the demographic at PAX.
Very, very indie retro feel to it.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I think that's a smart move. So both Sega and Microsoft are going to profit on that.
Yeah.
For those of us who have an Xbox 360.
Which is just me, I think.
Yeah, I don't.
I can't remember if she did. I don't think he does.
Anyway, I think that's pretty much all we have to say about that. And then finally, we've got a sequel to the remake of GoldenEye for the Wii.
It's not a sequel, it's a remake of a remake.
Or it's a remake of a remake, okay. Yeah, I'm disappointed. I was hoping for an actual sequel with like new levels and such, but still having the GoldenEye feel.
Yeah. The sequel to that game is long overdue.
Yeah. Instead they just keep remaking it over and over and over again, but
Yeah.
I guess as long as it just says GoldenEye in the title, we'll snap it up.
It's like well, what was the game EA made? GoldenEye Rogue Agent? That had nothing to do with that, but it just had the title GoldenEye. And
Yeah,
everybody
pretty
was
much.
freaking out over it.
Or GoldenEye Quantum Solace, which I think I actually played. It was for the original Xbox.
GoldenEye Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember if that was the right title for it, but I remember playing one on the Xbox, the original Xbox, and it had sort of a GoldenEye Source feel to it, but with different levels and weapons, obviously.
Are you sure you're not thinking about like Nightfire or Underfire?
Maybe it was like Under Fire. I'm not sure. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. A long time ago.
Because I know that Quantum of Solace just came out like Xbox 360-ish era.
Okay. Alright, then I'm thinking of a different game. Never mind!
Alright, anyway.
Then third thing on the list, unless Shoota has anything to say about PAX Prime.
UMBC Rage.
Alright, next up we have GameStop takes OnLive codes out of Deus Ex. For me, I personally don't really care. It's not a big deal to me, because I'm probably not gonna get the game. Not really too interested. Shoot over here, he'd probably kill me. But yeah, I do kind of think it is ripping off the customers. I mean, they're paying a price for basically 2 copies of the game, but only getting 1 copy of the game.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a rip off there. But personally, with my experiences with GameStop, I've had good experiences. So sure, they're jacked up in price, but they are a retail store. What do you expect? It's not like a garage sale down the street from you or anything. So
Which is the only place I buy my games.
yeah. Anyway, so that's pretty much that for my opinion on the whole OnLive code deal. So, what do you have to say?
I feel like while Square Enix is sort of at fault here for not telling GameStop about the code, it's just very unethical to open up a copy of the game and take promotional material out of it and then sell it as if it's new and it wasn't opened.
Yeah.
As far as anything else, I don't really know. I don't know a lot about Deus Ex. I don't know if there's any difference between the retail version and the online version, or if there's anything bonus. I don't really.
You can never tell with DLC these days.
Yeah. Especially if like OnLive version got like all the DLC for free, then I would be
Yeah.
pissed. But I don't really know.
Alright, what does Shuda have to say? And I'm sure he has quite a bit.
No, actually.
No? Nothing?
Well, I mean, okay, obviously we're looping in his rant at the end of the episode about the actual game. But, I think both companies should have a bit of face palming to do. Square shouldn't have put the codes in, but GameStop shouldn't have gone and opened up the new cases.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next topic. Future of emulation. Legal, illegal, free, for profit, etc.
Yay.
So, I'll just tackle each I guess you'd call genre of emulation. I don't know if that's the right term, but I'll
Yeah.
So legal emulation. Well, sites like Emulation Collective, Virtual NES, Virtual SNES, Virtual GBX. You're getting some free FaceTime here, Jamie.
iConsole.
iConsole. Ruben, you owe me one. Yeah, they basically are doing legal emulation now because of the way they use the copyright system. Since they are basically quote unquote renting the games out digitally.
Yeah.
Almost.
Not really renting, more like it's like when you let some kid down the street like borrow
your game. Yeah. So because they're not making any profit off of it. So
Exactly.
and in fact, actually, Emulation Collective is non-for-profit.
Yeah.
So, but for true legal emulation and the fact that you're downloading ROMs and emulators and stuff, that's not going to happen for another, I don't know, 60 years or so, because video game copyrights don't expire until 80 years after the game has been released. So, in like 2060, the NES will finally be like technically unlicensed. So,
and we'll all still be playing it.
yeah, and we'll all still be playing it. So that's pretty much all I really have to say about legal emulation. So for illegal emulation, right now the internet's kind of a Wild West kind of deal. Rules aren't really strictly enforced, and you can easily get away with stuff.
4chan.
But that's definitely going to change significantly if the Protect IP bill is passed. That's going to change a significant amount because we're going to have the government snooping everything we do online.
I still don't think it's gonna matter.
It's actually going to be pretty significant if you read into the bill. Basically, you can't hide anything. It's pretty much the same deal as what the government said. I think about 4 years ago, they said like if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear.
Well, it's
So-
it's saying that it would be illegal to hide things, correct?
Yep, pretty much.
But that's not going to stop it from happening. Because if you're hiding something, like say your IP address, then how are they going to find you? Because I'll be honest, I think most of the guys in Anonymous are probably smarter than U.S. government.
You'd be pretty surprised what the Department of Defense and National Security can do.
All I know is that I have a brother who works for Homeland Security, and he has told me about how stupid some of the people there are.
Well, yeah, but that's the security guards. I'm talking about the computer guys in the background for the government. I mean, first off, since the government has a huge budget, they can basically obtain resources that would be far superior to what we can get our hands on. So, like the NSA has a huge cluster of computers that's designed just for cracking passwords.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
But see, the thing about it is that these people the government's hiring, the computer whizzes, they're probably the same guys that are downloading these games and cracking passwords. I wouldn't be surprised if it was these same guys.
Yeah, that is potential things. They might put in a backdoor or something. I don't know. I'm just talking like a crazy guy now. Anyway, free emulation. Well, like I said, legal emulation, free emulation, those kind of go hand in hand. At least if you're not the parent company. So that's not really, I don't really have anything else really to say about that. For-profit emulation. I know there were emulators back in the day. I think there was a PlayStation emulator, or maybe Dreamcast emulator, I can't remember. It's called Bleem, which you had to pay for. It was shareware. Sony or Sega, whichever company they were emulating, got shut down, obviously. And see, that's the thing, is that with illegal emulation, it tends to be that the companies will target the people that are making money instead of the people that are just not making any money at all.
Yeah.
And the reason why that is, of course, is pretty obvious. They're losing money over it. So, though while they are losing money over free emulation, they're not losing as much with free emulation. While with Bleem or other paid-for emulators, they basically not only lose the money, or I should say they don't get the money, but they lose the money to a competitor, which it's typical business practice to try and eliminate competition.
Yeah.
As much as a lot of people hate that, it's typical business practice. So that's pretty much all I have to say for profit.
Like Virtual Console.
Well, yeah, I was going to get into that. With Virtual Console, that's a significant place where you can repackage a game and earn just a little bit more money out of it. Because you'll have parents that had an NES back in their days and they get a Wii for their kids, and then they're like, oh, Mario 3, I remember this game. I'm going to buy it so I can play it some more. That kind of deal.
Son, you're not going to play Mario Galaxy until you beat Ninja Gaiden.
So yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to say in terms of emulation. All I gotta say is in 2060, the emulation scene I predict is going to explode. It's just gonna go, just go all over the place. It's gonna, like, it'll pretty much just spread like a virus. It'll be crazy. It'll be viral.
Yeah,
and that's because the copyright law expires.
Yeah, I'd say pretty much the same thing, except as far as like, what do you call it? As far as like Virtual Console and other first-party emulation, I'm not exactly sure what good that's doing, because you hear people complaining all the time about how they're releasing the same games on different systems they're releasing the same games over and over again. So, but then as soon as they release another port of a game, like recently Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, to a newer console, everybody buys it, but then you know that 5 years later they're going to point to it and say, this is you releasing the same game over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's very much an internal conflict, and I'm not sure if it's doing good for either the industry or the players.
Yep. So, then, does you have anything to say about that?
It's going to keep going. Willing to bet companies will say it's illegal, like the derping idiots they are. Anyone who does it for profit outside the major companies is likely going to get sued the ass.
Yep. We've already seen that happen before, multiple times.
Yeah.
Alright, then we have, Screw Attack to see a massive overhaul in site, community programs, and pretty much everything else.
Yeah.
For me, I don't go to Screw Attack, so...
Which is where we get the most viewers out of all the places we put this. So.
Cool story, bro. Although I have seen the beta version of the site, and I do like it, though there's a couple of complaints I do have. One is that it just feels a little, like, crammed. It just feels like there's so much stuff that they're trying to put on the screen, it's just a little too much. Yeah. Almost a little too visually overwhelming, I want to say. But it's still not as bad as some other sites I've seen. And then my other complaint is that I don't know if it's just my computer, but the fonts are really messed up. Like, the spacing between letters and actual spaces isn't a defined number of pixels. So often you'll have like two letters that are smushed together, or you'll have a space that's like 3 spaces wide. So I don't know if that's just my browser or computer,
Yeah,
or
I
if
know what's
it's
up,
the actual
because
site.
We use the same browser, but on my computer it works fine.
Okay, well,
Anyway,
but yeah, that's pretty much my only complaint. If they offered like an alternate font option, or just changed the font entirely, then
I think there is a way to change it to just basic text instead of HTML.
well, yeah, but nobody wants to look at that.
Exactly.
So, I don't think Shoot has anything to say. He doesn't go to.
He says it's about time.
Yeah, although I do like the old design. The old design was just really functional, even though it was old. Just because something is old doesn't mean it's bad. So,
Are you talking about, like, how old are you talking?
like the one that's got kind of the blue, black, white theme.
That was like all of them.
Yeah. Let me think here. It was the one with shoot, I'm trying to remember. It had like a banner at the top, and then to the side it had a whole list of buttons. And then usually in the center of the page it would have like the video or article or whatever, and then on the side it would have like an ad banner or something.
Yeah, I think you're talking about V4 probably.
Maybe it was V4. I don't remember.
How old or how long ago was this?
Like 2007, 2008 ish.
There's probably like V4 or V3. I don't really know. I don't know what you're talking about. V4 being functional though. The search bar didn't work at all.
I didn't use it, so.
All right. As far
All right.
as what I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, just gonna cut me off.
Yeah, I'm just gonna cut you off. Your opinion doesn't matter.
I think it's pretty good. They did get rid of a few things like comments are now only text and there's no pictures or links.
I could see that from a webmaster standpoint. I mean, yeah, lots of spam and all that other good stuff.
Oh, no, sorry. Links still remain, and there are still
Oh, yeah.
spam. But the funny thing is that I talked to the guys who are the webmasters there. Apparently, what they previously thought was spam bots is actually just real people.
Yep,
So, that's fun.
it's pretty sad. We've actually got real people on the SNES 9X forum that just spam the forum by hand
yeah.
and then get banned and make another account.
Just Control V, just all
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Yeah, but so that was kind of funny. But so the spam is still there, admittedly in a much smaller number.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah. But there's no picture comments, which has some people riled up, but I don't think it really matters that much. The blogging system is very unique. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's worse or better because I really haven't had much of a chance to use it. I used it like once, and well, yeah, there's like that little text problem for some people. As far as actually writing the thing, it feels very it feels like it's very good, but it's in a way that you're not used to.
Yeah.
Sort of. But I think it's okay. The slowdown that I had on my computer that it originally caused is gone now, so that's okay. Although a lot of people have been saying the community things like blogs and stuff have been put on the back burner because now instead of being listed at like the top, the best 3 are listed at the top, they have a list of 10, but it's like at the very bottom of the page.
Oh, yeah.
And also there's no community uploads anymore. So,
Uh-huh.
which again I can see from a webmaster standpoint. You know,
Yeah.
it'd just be a lot of work because they said that only 5% of any community stuff was video. So anyway, but
Understandable.
yeah, you can still embed stuff, so that's good.
Yeah. Alright, I think that's pretty much it for talking about ScrewText beta.
It's not beta anymore. Now it's
Oh, it's live now?
yeah.
Oh, cool. That's good. now we have to talk about EA's Origin content distribution thing.
Yay.
So, for those of you who aren't aware, what Origin is it's EA's attempt at making Valve's Steam digital distribution program. And the reason why it's such a big deal right now is because Battlefield 3 will not be on Steam. It will be only on Origin. And that will require people to download, make an account, and install Origin. And then obviously download and install Battlefield 3. Or any other EA games that are in the Origin store. Here's the big problem, is that a lot of people are already running Steam. So, if Origin wants to have any chance at overtaking Steam at all, they either need to get to the players who don't know what Steam is and don't use it. They need to get to the players who, they need to get to the players who are completely clueless and have no idea what Steam is or anything. And they need to get to the people who are frustrated at Steam.
Not a lot of people would.
Steam's a little frustrating sometimes for me, but
I don't think it'd be enough to make anybody quit though, especially after using Origin.
Yeah. The problem is though is that Origin is probably even more bloated than Steam. Yeah. Unfortunately. So my prediction of how people that want to play Battlefield 3 and already have Steam, this is how it's going to work. They're going to keep Steam on their computer with all their Steam games and such.
Right.
Then they're going to install Origin, install Battlefield 3, but they're not going to keep Origin open all the time like they keep Steam open.
Yeah.
And they're not going to use Origin for like the community stuff or the news or the store. They're just going to use it to be able to play Battlefield 3. That's it. That's all they're going to be doing with Origin. So unless EA can make Origin better than Steam in some way, add more features, make it less bloated, something like that, then Steam could see a run for its money. Otherwise, Steam is still staying the main digital distribution platform.
Actually, something interesting. What's the MMO that's coming out? Star Wars: The Old Republic is apparently going to be strictly Origin.
Interesting.
And that's one of the most anticipated games of the year, as far as online games go. So it's interesting, because I know a lot of people are talking about how they really want that. And from what I've heard of other people is that it's going to be strictly Origin. And I'm not sure how that's going to affect Origin's selling point.
That's a very good point.
Whether it's going to make people want it, or whether it's just going to resent it. I don't know.
Well, it's certainly interesting.
Yeah. For some people, it's not only causing animosity towards EA, but even towards their products. Like I know that Lucky George, who hosts The Filter, was talking about how he is not buying Battlefield 3 because of Origin. He won't buy it at all.
Okay.
So, I mean, obviously it has some people mad enough that they won't buy EA's products. So,
yeah.
And as a publisher, EA is supposed to be trying to get their things, their games out to as many platforms as possible. So it just seems counterproductive to me.
Yeah, that does make sense. What does Shuda have to say?
Why? Why did you need to do this, EA? And my big beef with Origin is that it is nothing more than a fancy name and a new software for what the EA store used to be.
Pretty well said. Let me think here. Pretty much the only way I could think that Origin could add a feature over Steam is allow like file uploads. You know, you could upload kind of like a file storage site. You know, upload pictures and videos and music and text and whatnot, and then share them with your friends and whatnot. That's something that I always kind of missed from Steam, especially with like Steam groups and such. Is that you can't really have like a website. You just have the group page and then like 3 links. It'd be nice if you could actually have a website with like multiple pages and file uploads. That would be a nice feature to see in Steam. So if Origin pulls it off, I'd be impressed. And then I just want to make one quick little news item. We don't really need to discuss it too much, but right now Portal is free on Steam, so you have no excuse to go get Steam and Portal.
Yeah, seriously, like that's another thing. EA, I don't think will do is I don't think they're gonna offer as many deals.
Yeah, they're not going to offer like free games for a week or whatever. They're not going to offer free weekends to play or.
Yeah, I think Steam has one of the things that was on Daily DL like a while back when they were talking about Origin. Is that I think he said it boasts over 1 million people on there at any given moment.
Yeah, Steam has a lot of people online all the time.
And that he doesn't think that Origin could ever boast that sort of number.
Yeah. So, I think that pretty much sums it up. We have one question, right?
Actually, since that point, we have gotten way more.
Wow. Okay. Well, then let's take care of them.
Alright, let me find the, all of them. Because I'm going to save the first one that we got for last, because that was a really great question.
That was an awesome question. Too bad a recording screwed up.
Yeah. First one from Michael. Do you like Asians?
Yeah, I think they're cool.
They're very
people.
smart.
They're very smart, yeah. Plus they have funny accents.
Aw, you're awful.
That was said with overly sarcastic tone, so don't take it too seriously.
Yeah. No, whenever he talks about it, he always talks in accent on purpose. But
there's a friend of mine. It's actually pretty funny. A lot of people mistake him for Asian, even though he's actually not really Asian. And one of his favorite jokes is, "It's the Asian invasion." Anyway, it's pretty funny.
We call Michael the Asian sensation, but
hey, I'd call that a compliment.
Yeah. Anyway,
it could be a stage name.
Second one from Emily. What is the average airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
I think I've heard that question before.
Have you? It's from Monty Python.
Let me go ask Google. Because I don't know. I haven't seen Monty Python.
I think if you get that, if you find like a Yahoo Answers, I think you're gonna like that answer.
What is the question exactly?
What is the average airspeed velocity?
Average airspeed velocity of a unladen swallow?
Yes.
Unladen swallow. Style.org, Wikipedia, YouTube, Answers.com, Armory.com, TrueKnowledge.com, Google Answers. Here we go. Wow, an actual zoologist responded to this question.
Oh, did they really?
Aha, the age-old question pops up again. Most likely it's about 40 to 50 miles per hour, as stated from Ask a Scientist in the Zoology Archive speed of a swallow.
Oh, that's fun.
However, opinions are varied and all over the map, as you can see by the following links provided. One to Slashdot, one to Armory.com, one to SciForums.com, another one from Google Groups,
Well,
more from Google Groups, the Answer Bus.
If you've watched Monty Python the Holy Grail, basically what happens is they have a guy at a bridge and he asks questions and you have to get it right to get across. And one of the things he says is, well, if you don't get it right, you get thrown up into the air. And one of the things he asks is, what is the average airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? And King Arthur replies, is it an African or European swallow? And the guy who asked the question says, I don't know. And then he disappears. Trick question.
Hang on, I'm looking at the IMDb article. Looking at the memorable quotes. This is random as ever, but still really funny.
Yeah.
Anyway. Alright, I think we've lingered enough on that question.
Sorry, yeah. I just like that question. Next. Donuts or bagels?
Who was this asked by?
Ice Stricer.
Ice Tracer. Oh gosh, donuts or bagels?
Get it?
At first I thought you said donuts or bacon, and I'm like, oh gosh, that's a really hard choice. But donuts and bagels, I'm gonna have to pick donuts because donuts have frosting,
I agree.
and frosting is good.
Yeah. So.
It's like steroids for your blood sugar.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
All right.
If it was donuts and bacon, I'd have to really think about it, deep.
all right.
Which I've actually had bacon on a donut, and it was really good. Anyway, we're getting off topic. All right, do we have any more questions?
Yes.
Awesome.
Hold on. Crap, I just lost him. Dang it, shut up. Why isn't it showing my thing? Oh, there it is. Okay. Where'd it go? Here it is. Alright. Has anyone really been far even as decided to use even go want to do look more like?
I've heard that question before.
I'd like to thank John Strickland for that question, because as soon as I saw it, I was like, yay.
What? Have you I don't know. I can't answer that question. It's just too confusing. I say he needs to retake English. That's my first thought. He needs to retake English.
I'll tell him that. Let's see. I'm just gonna go ahead and say yes.
Yes.
Alright, from Lucky George. What do you think about Final Fantasy X getting an HD remake? Even, let's all forget about Final Fantasy VII.
What's Final Fantasy?
I hate you.
No, seriously. Educate me.
Alright, you seriously have no idea what Final Fantasy is.
No, I have no idea.
What the fuck? How long have you been playing video games?
Since I was like 5, roughly.
You have no idea what Final Fantasy is.
No.
Alright, oh god, this is gonna be some tough explaining to do. Basically, Final Fantasy is the reason for the JRPG.
Okay.
Do you know what the JRPG is?
Isn't that like an RPG except it's kind of different?
It's in Japanese style.
Okay.
Final Fantasy was an NES game that was like lauded as one of the best RPGs ever, blah blah blah. Anyway, so after Square jumped ship from Nintendo to Sony and released Final Fantasy VII, it got amazing reviews and is lauded as one of the best RPGs ever made. Anyway, so fans have been racketeering for Final Fantasy VII Remake for probably at least 10 years now, but instead they chose to get Final Fantasy X Remake, which is known for being okay, but having some of the worst dialogue ever.
Okay.
So, what do you think about getting, what do you think about giving one of the lesser sequels a remake instead of one of the best ones.
Meh, I don't really care.
Alright. Oh, I forgot to read Shoota's answers to these because I sent it to him earlier.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'll do them in a second.
Okay.
So you don't really care?
Yeah, I don't really care. I wasn't into JRPGs that much. I'm more of a Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga guy. I prefer the regular RPGs, the action-based RPGs.
Did you ever play Super Mario RPG?
Yeah, I did, but I think I got to Smithy, and then I was like, rage quit, this is too hard.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and explain. The guys who developed that are the guys who developed Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Same exact guy. So
Okay, so I probably wouldn't like Final Fantasy then.
it's a little bit easier, actually.
Really? Okay.
Anyway, but and then let me go ahead and read Shoota's donuts or bagels. He says donut holes, and
I see what you did there.
and I'm not even gonna reread John Strickland's question. He just says maybe.
Maybe.
And then Shoota says, I just bought Final Fantasy X.
Okay.
Alright. Finally, who would win a fight between a bear and a shark?
Well, if I think about this logically, it depends on the environment. If it was on land, the bear would obviously win because the shark cannot move on land. But at the same time, the bear would lose if he was like in a lake or the sea or something like that,
Shark
or if he was in water because the shark would eat the bear. Yeah, that pretty much just sums that up.
Alright.
That's how I approached it logically.
Right. Shoota says, Chuck Norris. Optionally, it depends on where they are fighting. If it's on land, the shark's going to die of water loss. If it's in water, the damn bear is going to drown. The answer is Chuck Norris.
Although, a little bit of an unrelated note, but it was pretty funny. Like, my little sister was watching this one show, and it said, like, what has 4 legs and is brown, and has a hump on its back, and I thought, grizzly bear, because here in where I live, there's a lot of grizzly bears.
Yeah.
And one of the prominent features of them is having a slight sort of lump in their backs, which is one of their main features.
And you didn't think camel?
I didn't think camel. I thought grizzly bear. Anyway,
Right.
I thought that was pretty funny.
And I think the bear is going to pick up the shark, and the bear will use the shark as a weapon, and the bear and the shark will become a killing team. So,
That's all.
yep. Alright, so I guess song of the month?
Yep. And song of the month I picked was the song from the SNES game Vortex, which the title of the song is Vortex.
How intriguing.
For those who are unaware, the game is was going to be a Transformers game, but Electro Brain, the guys who made the game, lost the rights to making the game Transformers themed, so they recycled a lot of stuff and just changed a couple of things and released it as Vortex, its own original game. The game is pretty awesome. It's one of the few Super FX games on the Super Nintendo, and probably one of the most graphically busy SNES games out there for Super FX. It's really cool in the way it uses Super FX. Since Super FX is pretty much used for everything, there's like almost no sprites. What else? The game is a lot of fun, but it's hard. It's a hard game. And it's not like the controls are frustrating or there's cheap deaths or whatever. Kind of hard. It's the real kind of hard. It's like the fair kind of hard. Like, you have to be skillful. There's no excuses. You have to be good at the game. So, and the music in the game is absolutely excellent. Justin Chernova, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, composed the music for Vortex, and he did an excellent job. I really like the theme. This actually, the song I picked is from the first level, which is aptly named Vortex. And I just think it's a really cool song. It's got a nice beat to it, and it's got some really nice synthesizer effects. So, It is, I do warn you, it is 10 minutes long with the 2 loops and a fade. So, if you don't like long music, you might want to shy away from it. But
Yeah.
that, let's play it. Okay. So yeah, that pretty much sums that up. One quick thing I do want to say is we probably won't be doing a podcast for a while since I will be starting school within a couple of days here, and that will mean I will be pretty busy. So, just keep an eye on the clan page, and if we get some free time to maybe do it, do a podcast, we'll post on the announcements.
Yeah, I'm trying to get. Lucky was supposed to be here today, and he actually just got on and asked me what was up, and I told him that we were halfway through recording, and he was like, "Alright, well, I'll try and do something next time." So maybe him getting on someday. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. How about this? We won't make any promises,
Yeah.
but you
We'll
can
try our best.
Yeah, we'll try our best, and you can look forward to possibly seeing us in the future.
Possibly.
Possibly. Maybe, possibly.
Or we're just ninjas and we'll just disappear.
That too. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Any other things, I guess, you want to say first before we go?
Plug for the filter. It's a really good podcast. Kind of like OCAD with the music breaks and whatnot.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
I just want to say thank you to all of the people who have been willing to participate in the podcast. Shuda. I think that's pretty much the only guest we had on the podcast.
Well, I mean, all the guys. Well, I mean, that's not true. That was what is this? I don't even.
Oh yeah, and also we had the what is this? I don't even interview.
Yeah, that was really good though.
You enjoyed it, I can tell.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to do another one, so maybe
all right.
cross your fingers.
Yep, we'll see. What else? Also, probably should thank the Raiden 4 soundtrack, obviously, for our awesome intro theme, as well as the song we will be playing at the end of this podcast, sort of as an outro, I guess. For those of you who are interested, the song title for our intro is Raiden for a Stormy Front, and then the end song we'll be playing is Raiden for Brightness of Peace. So
you can tell I did not get to pick the music for this episode.
Yeah, I will be editing this episode, so I get to pick the background music and such. And
This episode not produced by Panda.
yes, this episode not produced by Panda. All right, folks. Well, we'd better wrap it up here. So we will see you later. Don't forget to check out. Yeah, don't forget to check out our new blip.tv account.
Yeah.
blip.tv/castaway podcast. We also still have our website, i8apple.clanteam.com. If you want to keep in touch with both me and Gara, you can check out our email at castawaypodcast@gmail.com. That's it?
Yep.
Yep. And then we also have an account on YouTube, Castaway Podcast, and also a Steam group. So,
don't expect anything on YouTube because it does not get updated as much due to
yeah,
YouTube's 15-minute limit. So
yeah, since we have a 15-minute limit on YouTube, we often have to put those updates to the side since we have to split up the podcast episodes. But with Blip TV, we don't have a time limit at all. So if you want the most recent updates, you go to either our Mediafire site, which there's a link to on our main website, or you go to blip.tv.
yeah.
So with that, we'll wrap it up here.
Thanks for watching.
Yep. Camo signing out.
All right. If you have not bought this game yet, it is a very good game. It has very good length, considering the typical length of most games these days. It has an interesting control scheme that works well. The story is good. The combat is fun. The stealth is fun. Everything about it is fun. It's definitely one of the games of the year. But, and this is one of those huge buts that you got to watch out for. If you played the original game, destroy all your expectations, because this game is close to an insult to the original game.
It's also very yellow.
It is also very yellow. The major problem with this game is that when you, if you played the original, and this is something a lot of reviewers have thrown around, so you might have heard this before. The original game was an RPG-heavy game that had some action in it. This game is an action game that has a little RPG in it. And the difference is that in the original game, you had to really kind of specialize your character. You had to your character was unique. What you told characters was unique. The world was unique. And that would be for every time you played, depending on the choices you made. This game, by the time you reach the end, every character is going to be the same because they give you pretty much everything by the end.
Yeah.
You know, the original was play the way you want to play. The new one is play the way you want to play, then go back through and loot all the other ways you could have played.
Just like RPG Grand Theft Auto.
Exactly. But
I heard that Human Revolution has a much better control scheme than the first.
well, depends on how you want to define better. Different, yeah, but I prefer the first. Quite honestly. But I think if you played the original, the three things you got to watch out for is that they cram as many references to the original as they possibly could in that game. I swear, if they took half that out, they could have a longer game.
How? But isn't this a prequel?
It is a prequel, but they throw in so many, like, round of references. You'll have characters from the first game. You'll have conversations that are similar to the first game. You'll have the music from the first game. You'll have... They just throw everything from the first game at you.
Anything from the second game?
No, everyone hates the second game.
Exactly.
Well, that's it. But you may get tired of all the references. It's cool at times, but other times it's just wondering why they even thought to put that in there.
Yeah.
Boss fights. Oh boy, this is the fun one. None of the boss fights in this game are any interesting.
Are any interesting?
No. Like the original, in the original game, before you fought a boss, you actually spent a few hours, talking with them, learning about them, learning their mindset, learning who they are, actually, interacting with them. And then when you actually got into the boss fight, you didn't actually have to fight them. You could just run around them and walk out the door. Or you could find another way to beat them besides shooting them.
That sounds like a... I don't know why it reminds me of, but Red Faction.
Yeah, kind of like that. But in Human Revolution, the only reason you have to fight the bosses is because there is no other way out until you kill the boss.
Right.
You're pretty much forced to fight the boss. You have no reason to do so other than you're forced to. You don't give a care about their characters because you never learn about their characters. They're just standard enemies, but stronger. And that doesn't make a good boss fight. And I'm sorry, that is not what they put in as a final boss. Is not the final boss. I refuse to call that a final boss.
It's like one of the major complaints about like Castlevania 2 was that the boss fights seemed so dumbed down from the first.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, but the boss fights in this game are just shoot till dead. But even the final boss, dear God, the final boss, if the moment you figure out the trick to it, it takes... Oh, I don't even want to describe it. It's not a final boss. It's not worthy of being called a final boss. It's easy. And speaking of the end, the endings. Original game, you actually had to go through missions to get the ending you want. You had to commit yourself down a path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Human Revolution, you walk up and you're given these 4 very obvious big red buttons, and each one will change the world in a different way. and everyone's sitting there saying, if you push this button, this is what's going to happen, this is why it's going to happen, this is why you choose this button, and this is what's going to happen to everyone else.
It's like Fallout 3.
It's... Well, Fallout 3, you knew that there was only one choice there. Here, you're given 4 different choices, but you're not really given the choice. You're just pick a button, any button.
No, I was more thinking like the part where the megaton destruction.
Oh,
where it's like it's just this or that you can't do.
Well, yeah, you can go down a different road. Don't do the quest.
That's true, but I wouldn't really count that as, Anyway.
It's an option.
Whatever.
It's still Game of the Year. It's still a great game.
It's just not Deus Ex.
It is not Deus Ex. There's no way you can call that Deus Ex. You lose your character uniqueness. The boss fights are boring. The only thing they really got right compared to the original was inventory, and that's about it. Inventory, the story. I will say this: the one thing I like best is that they have a. Sometimes we'll have a dynamic conversation, a conversational boss fight. Those are fun. It's like, and you'll be given a character. You'll be trying to argue with him, and you'll, depending on how you're set up, you'll be trying to argue certain points that he'll make, and it's not always the same points each playthrough. They will randomize the conversations on you.
Interesting. So you would say it's worth a playthrough?
It is worth a playthrough. I'd say it's worth a second playthrough if you want to kind of test yourself. But if you haven't played the original, it's definitely a buy. If you have played the original, word of caution, it's not going to meet your expectations.
Alright.